Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with the best hair, and welcome to week 3 of... And you really can't talk about Nicolas Cage movies all summer without bringing up the fact that he is a lover of comic books, and there is one role he pushed hard to make sure he got. Ghost Rider. Released in 2007, Ghost Rider is, of course, the film adaptation of the comic book of the same name. Nicolas Cage stars as Johnny Blaze, whom, wouldn't you know it, happens to be a superhero known as Ghost Rider. And, bear with me, unlike our good friend Nicolas Cage here, I myself am not a comic book guy. I don't read comic books, I don't follow Marvel movies, and all I know about Ghost Rider is that he's a flaming skeleton that rides a motorcycle. Literally, that's it. But I am also a film critic, so yes, I will be critiquing this work on its merits as a film, specifically the extended cut, because that's what I got. No surprise, it's Ghost Rider's origin story. How he made a deal one day that led to him being called upon to round up supernatural evil before it destroys the world! Or at least Texas, which, if you ask me, is pretty much the same thing. So, let's take a look at a Ghost Rider and see if Johnny sticks the landing. Our story opens up way back in the Old West. Gotta explain the backstory of the backstory first. You see, Satan hires his handy-dandy Ghost Rider to go around and collect on Satan's contracts. But, well, there was this one very damn big contract, and the writer at the time was like, you know what? Screw this. Satan can't get this much power.
He outran the devil himself.
Well, yeah, he's on a demonic fire steed while Satan's just sitting there in his galoshes. We suddenly jump generations into the future. Not quite present day, though. This is still backstory. The backstory of Johnny Blaze. Still a young child, played not by Nicolas Cage, but Matt Long. But he lives in the shadow of the real star of the stunt show, his father, Barton Blaze, played by Brett Cullen, who has words about his goofing off to impress some hot young thing.
You think she's gonna stand by you when you're in a wheelchair?
Yes? Totally unrelated to the very important things that are just about to transpire, he gives the kid a small speech about the importance of the choices we make and the long-term consequences we have to live with and all that jazz. But he still allows him to meet up with a girl, Roxanne Simpson, played here by Raquel Alessi. But, oh darn it, her daddy doesn't like Johnny and they're gonna be moving out of town soon.
So what are we gonna do, Johnny?
Give it a couple of decades and try and fish each other up on that newfangled internet thing. Johnny figures, fuck it, they can just ride off into the sunset together. Who needs a plan, a house, or money if you have Hollywood tropes to survive off of? But when he gets home, he discovers there's a terrifying secret his father has been keeping from him. Well, that's gonna be an awkward way to start the body count. To collect his thoughts, he decides to work on the bikes that night. The night where a certain stranger rolls into town. And the movie makes no attempts whatsoever to hide the guy's identity, so I may as well say it. Peter Fonda! He plays the devil himself, Mephistopheles. A reference to Faust, though technically he's not really the devil, but oh well, he's a devil, and that's good enough to talk deals with old Johnny Boy here. He's able to make Daddy Boy all better, and all Johnny has to do is sign the contract right here.
Oh, that'll do just fine.
Man made a blood oath to the dark side faster than most of us sign our end-user license agreements. But it was all just a dream! Or not, as his father is magically all better, and even more impressively, the doctors have already called him up about his clean bill of health. Surprise, son! I had cancer, but I got better! For a minute anyway, as learning that his son intends to skip the show to instead skip town with some girl really has him questioning Johnny's long-term conceptualizing, but realizing, yes, it is love, he relents and says he'll do the show himself. However... just because the devil can heal your daddy's cancer doesn't mean he's not gonna kill him anyway! Ha! Don't like it? Take it up with a Better Business Bureau! This happened so fast, Johnny hadn't even left the fair yet, and after the devil interrupts his little getaway, he points out more stipulations of that little contract the kid signed. Seems Johnny works for Satan now, and he'll have a job for him. Later, but in the meantime...
forget about friends. Forget about family. Forget about love.
Alright, but I can keep my Xbox, right? So he's got nothing binding him to anything right now, but Yeah, that stuff the devil told him heavily suggests that romance isn't in the cards, so sorry, Roxanne, gotta leave your ass in the rain and ride off into the horizon. That way we can fast forward decades later where Johnny is a world sensation daredevil, leaping ass tons of 18-wheelers and crashing just as entertainingly. That way we can prove to the audience he's also really good at not dying.
You gave us all a big scare! What happened out there tonight?
It's the beginning of a movie. Shit never goes right. And yes, Johnny Blaze is finally played by Nicolas Cage, and we see his tour bus of friends and colleagues question just how lucky a man can be to survive what he does.
And you got an angel looking after you.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's something else.
Yeah, we just went through 20 minutes of movie of backstory with you making a deal with the devil, so it's really nothing mysterious about it. But it's time to introduce our big bad for this movie, in flaming rain. It's Blackheart, who I'm told is more badass in the comics, but like I said, I'm unfamiliar, so as far as I'm aware, Blackheart has always been Dawson's cadaver, played by Wes Bentley. He establishes how badass he is by murdering an entire biker bar, and how evil he is by murdering the bartender to boot. Now it's time to introduce his little underlings, similarly evil creatures of earth, water, wind. Okay, weird, but as long as their powers combined summon Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. That's not the plan, though. They're looking for that all-important contract established during the opening. Legend has it it's kicking around somewhere in Texas, so time for the world's most evil scavenger hunt. But old Satan, aka Blackheart's daddy, is not happy with his son's plans and intends to ground him.
I may not have power over you in this world, but my rider does.
But of course there are those arbitrary rules that ancient evils have to abide by. Evil is all about rules and obligations. Explains all the lawyers. Now, well, only one thing to do when the fate of the world hangs in the balance. Leap the length of an entire football field! But before he can, someone asks for an interview.
Hey, Johnny. Hi.
Roxanne, played by Eva Mendes. Even better, the actress they found to play the younger Roxanne actually did look kind of like her, unlike Johnny. This is an especially special specialty interview special, as Johnny normally doesn't give interviews.
What's going through your mind right now?
You look really good.
And as such, he's fucking terrible at it. So, that was awkward. Oh well, just need to clear his mind by jumping 6 Black Hawk helicopters! Sure, that's not physically possible within that distance, but that just makes the jump that much more spectacular! So, leaping them, he knows just what to do. Chase Roxanne down on the highway, almost getting himself killed again, so that he may continue their conversation.
Let's get some dinner. You still like Italian?
Oh god, it's another Olive Garden proposal. She's not receptive. After all, he left her out there in the rain. She understands, but, well, on second thought, maybe they could meet up tonight.
8 o'clock.
Yes! And I just love that reaction out of him. It's understandable, given that conversation was far more touch and go than that jump thing. But things don't turn out quite so well. First of all, she has a magic 8-ball for some reason, but, while he was getting ready for their date, Satan came a-knockin'! First of all, no, he hasn't been keeping him alive. He's just that good. But they do have a contract, and he does have stipulations. Johnny's gotta go hunt down Blackheart and take him down.
If you succeed, I'll return your soul. I'm not doing it. You don't have any choice.
It is scripted. No, it is written. So the first special effects bonanza begins! Blaze blazes down the boulevard, burning everything in his path! The bike takes him to the rail station the baddies are at, and then he burns! Oh, does he burn! Screaming like only Nicolas Cage can. Now, scratch that. I'm pretty sure you can get that out of Bruce Campbell, and after enough takes. But what you can't get is this here flamin' skull! That's because Ghost Rider's skull here is actually based on x-rays of Nicolas Cage's skull. God, I love when CGI actually goes the extra mile. Anyway, it's time for the showdown to begin between the Rider and the baddies. First things first, they hang him. But no bother, that just works to give him his signature chain that he'll use for the rest of the movie. However, the grabby puddle and the big fucking truck crushing him are a slightly bigger problem. But what's this? Skeletons have no vital organs to destroy, so he flame chains the dirty boy into demonic death! Ghost Rider game, RE engine, now! Such is the fight, but he's got more Ghost Rider powers to show off, whistling for his bike to come, then using Hellflame magic to transform it into a heavy metal beauty. And of course, we have to establish another power, the Penance Stare. He gazes into the soul of this mugger, making him feel the pain of all the souls that he has harmed in his sinful life. Taking out the random mugger, which, going by the overall plot, isn't the most important thing to showcase, but I'm pretty sure that Penance Stare thing will come in very handy during the climax. Continuing to ride into the night, the rider makes it to a cemetery before eventually collapsing, transforming back into Nicolas Cage.
Morning, bonehead.
Introducing us to the Caretaker, played by Sam Elliott, a veteran actor who's done a ton of westerns and has a big western air about him in here, and this story also has backstory that takes place in the Old West, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it has nothing to do with anything. But he does know all about that fun little romp Johnny had last night, flaming skulls and transforming motorcycles, demon battles, all that jazz.
Who are you?
Question is, who are you?
Nicolas Cage? Johnny's first instinct is to just say, fuck it and leave, but as the Caretaker knows about the dark deal he made in the past, he decides to hear him out. Thus, it's exposition dump time. The rider, or Ghost Rider if you will, is the devil's bounty hunter, but he only transforms at night or in the presence of evil. Also, we cover the Penance Stare, how it sears wicked souls, greatest weapon, all that. Also, hearing that Satan sent Johnny Boy here after Blackheart and friends, he knows it's something major.
You better hang around here, kid. They can't come on the hallowed ground.
Really? Damn, they're gonna have a hell of a time navigating Texas. There's like a church every 50 feet. All this insanely important information is nice and all, but Johnny's got places to be and bad decisions to make. So, heading back, he sees that he was responsible for quite possibly the most extreme act of vandalism the town has ever seen, and the lady he saved that night is giving an interview to Roxanne about that guy who saved her. You know, the one with the flaming skull for a head.
And I know it sounds weird, but it looked okay on him. I mean, it was an edge look, but he totally pulled it off.
It's just really fortunate he already happened to be into leather and motorcycles before the demonic curse kicked in. Anyway, Roxanne isn't happy with Johnny's excuses for what he could have possibly been doing when that motorcycle-riding flaming skeleton was terrorizing around town, but the cops find the license plate, which will come in handy in a minute. First, we gotta give Johnny the chance to explain to Roxanne exactly why he's suddenly giving her the cold shoulder.
I have to spare you.
Spare me from what?
The devil, on account I work for him. That's why I couldn't make it to dinner.
Oh, you finally got that internship at Bank of America. His tale of how nighttime plus evil equals Monster Johnny lets her know everything she has to. The man's either insane or just trying to piss her off, so either way, goodbye, Johnny. And hello, police officers! Seems that license plate they recovered was registered to Johnny Blaze. Man, I knew Satan had something to do with the DMV. Well, they have a hell of a body count, and Johnny is now a suspect, but he maintains his innocence. Okay, only one thing to do then. Let him think this over in the drunk tank overnight. But, oh yeah, that whole presence of evil thing. Which you would think would result in the cell being swarmed by guards wondering what in the hell is going on, but you see, there's your problem. This place evidently doesn't have guards. Allowing Ghost Rider to kick their evil asses and get a swanky new jacket. Not quite metal enough, so let's give it one hell of a makeover while we're at it. Thus, easily melting the bars, he just walks out of there, calls his loyal steed, and Cage brings the rage. Fleeing from the police in a supernatural chase scene, heading to a showdown with a wind demon. One that is in plain view of everyone, and I do mean everyone. Heading to a rooftop, shooing off a pesky police helicopter, and finally giving the demon a swing. And a miss.
You're a slow learner, aren't you, Ryder? You cannot catch the wind!
Damn, now we gotta use the hell powers to make the world's most metal Hoover vacuum cleaner and go Blinks the Time Sweeper on his ass. Too much work. Just spin his chain like a tornado until it vaporizes this demon even more than it already is. Unfortunately, can't stop to have a chat with Roxy right now. Gotta keep running from the police. Need the caretaker to help clear up more of the plot for Johnny. He explains the part we know, but the character doesn't know yet that the legendary contract was so evil the previous writer never turned it in to Mephistopheles, keeping it hidden, and no one knows quite where it is. But Blackheart is coming for it.
That's why it's important for you to stay away from friends and family. Anybody he can use against it, because he will.
Oh yes, but how long can we expect him to stay away from friends and family?
Roxanne.
Roxy, just as well, went to Johnny's place looking for him, but instead only found his friend, Mac, played by Donald Logue. He's also worried about Johnny, how weird and distant the stuntman has become, not to mention his sudden obsession with occult literature. That's never a good sign in these kinds of movies. Never mind that for now, though. We gotta check up on the caretaker, who is being ambushed by the demons!
This is hallowed ground.
Oh, good. I don't have to point out that inconsistency.
I have all of my father's strengths, and none of his weaknesses.
Okay, it doesn't work because it doesn't work. Jesus heaven, quality test your shit! So they attack the caretaker, looking for the contract, but he's not giving them any information. So, new plan, gotta get the writer by getting to Roxanne. Best way to do that is murder Johnny's friend, then bring Roxanne to the brink of death. Oh, well, just means Johnny's got the chance to do that penance stare on him.
Your penance stare doesn't work on me. I have no soul to burn.
Oh, fuck, another technicality. Well, screw it, just go Doom Guy on the thing with a 12 gauge or something. So Blackheart beats Johnny's ass and tells him that the writer now works for BH Demonic Possession and Home Improvement. First contract, get the contract and bring it to him. Failure to comply, and Roxanne will die. Toodles. So he heads to the caretaker looking for it, and as it turns out, it was hidden in the shovel all along.
You're gonna have to trust me.
Why is that?
Well, the movie's like 2 hours long, and it'd be really shit if it just ends on the Ghost Rider fucks up and the whole world's damned. Hope you weren't expecting a sequel.
He may have my soul, but he doesn't have my spirit.
Okay, trying to confuse the caretaker into giving you the MacGuffin? So he agrees, and in a completely shocking revelation that no one could have possibly seen coming, it turns out that he was in fact the previous rider, Carter Slade, joining Johnny on the 500-mile journey to the climax on his flaming stallion. But it's all the ghost riding power he's got left, so long, Johnny. Hope the climax goes well for you.
It's almost done. Slowing down. What?
Getting ready for the final showdown. I just realized I still have a spare henchman left over, so have fun! Thus, Waterboy attacks, pulling Johnny beneath the surface, but that's the thing about demonic fire. When you're working with supernatural forces, the laws of physics really don't matter anymore, and another one bites the dust. Now, just before dawn, he finally makes it to the final showdown, contract in hand. Roxanne is tossed aside, and they may fight! For about 10 seconds, then the sun comes up. And Ghost Rider transforms back into Johnny Blaze, which, despite the name, is a version of him that is not on fire. Giving Blackheart enough time to right-click on the consumable item and consume all the cursed souls. Thus, the final battle is underway. Johnny's low on power, but if he can lure Blackheart into the shadows, he can still transform into Ghost Rider, and transform his shotgun into a super kick-ass hell shotgun, blasting Blackheart to bits! Which comes back together, but hey, here's an idea.
How does it feel to have all that evil inside of you? All their power.
All their souls.
Oh, look at that, Blackheart. You just activated his trap card. The penance stare works now, burning the souls within the demon. Therefore, happy ending! The bad guy is destroyed, and the good guy gets the girl. Not only that, he did the job Satan asks, and he can have his soul back now. However, he refuses. The best way to keep Satan at bay is to keep the curse, and the power that comes with it. Besides, he's kind of a wanted man, what with all that death and destruction back there, so, sorry, Roxanne, can't stick around. Gotta travel the roads, free as a bird, and all that.
Sure wish things could have turned out different.
No. This is what you are. This is what you always were meant to be.
A skeleton that's on fire. That's you, Johnny. Anyway, that was Ghost Rider. You know, it's not nearly as bad as it was made out to be. There's bad movies, disappointing movies, and fine movies that just don't hit the right boxes for the target audience. I'm thinking this one leads somewhere on the latter, and the former. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad. It's not something that leaves me wanting to slap my head or questioning what the filmmakers were thinking. It's just kind of simple. The extended edition, which I have here, has a running time of about 2 hours, while the theatrical cut is 90 minutes. Either way, the plot is far too basic to justify either runtime, but this movie isn't about the plot, really. It's about watching Ghost Rider on the big screen in a big-budget flick doing kick-ass chase scenes, fight scenes, and special effects. On that front, Ghost Rider more than delivers. I couldn't care less that the quest for the MacGuffin involved element-themed bad guys I didn't know about and didn't care to, when I'm watching Ghost Rider use his flaming awesome powers of awesome to chain whip and motorcycle around the city, leaving destruction and newfound appreciation for homeowners insurance in his wake. So that's really what this movie is, a spectacle, and the special effects and cinematography on display work well for that. I may not care about the depth of what's going on, but it sure is fun to look at. Pretty, too. At the end of the day, Ghost Rider, I still haven't picked up a comic, and I have absolutely no idea how well it translates the concepts, world, characters, or plots of the printed world into the big screen, but for what it is, it's a fun ride. Coming in at 3 flaming motorcycles fueled by hell itself. Out of 5. And hey, I've got a soft spot for anything that makes constant references to Faust. Thank you all for watching. I've been Shado. And remember, none of us really know what in the hell even is in those end-user license agreements.
Wait.
You think I'm pretty, right?
But what you can't get is this here flamin' skull. That's because Ghost Rider's skull here is actually based on x-rays of Nicolas Cage's skull. You silly butt dog.